Welcome to the new video about Seven Knights Rebirth, and today we got ourselves a new update which provided us with a little bit of new content. Well, relatively new, let's say. It's going to be about the Guild Wars. Yeah, now this thing is available and soon we're going to receive ourselves season and we'll be able to kinda progress with it. An interesting mode. There are quite complicated mechanics, but I believe it's going to be a headache of Guildmaster. Anyways, it's not going to be the main topic of this video, because we got, most importantly, 2 new characters and the story event, so we're going to talk specifically about Kyle. And yeah, I believe this is going to be an important one. You probably know that he is really broken. Well, if you don't, I'm announcing it, he is really broken. The most important thing that you will be able to receive him through the coupon, which is Kyle versus Teo 1016. I'm going to just show you, if you are not familiar with this, which I believe majority should be, but I'm going just to type it real quick. Maybe some of you is going to find it important and you didn't hear about it before. So here it is. This is the code. Whenever you're going to use it, you are going to receive yourself T0 Kyle for free, absolutely. About investments into him, is it important, especially for free-to-play players, to work on dupes for him? So let's talk about it. Well, first of all, the most important part that you need to understand for yourself is going to be about the purpose of having him and building his dupes. Like, what's the main goal, what's the main reason? If we're talking specifically about Ruby farming, and just Ruby farming, nothing else matters for you at all, and this is the only one place where you're planning to use him, which I would say this is going to be a shame, because he's really strong even at T0, without skills being upgraded, without any dupes, with just proper equipment. He is able to destroy everything absolutely without any questions. But anyways, if only talking about the Ruby farming, there is no reason to push him any further than T0. It doesn't make a lot of difference. You will be able to farm even Nightmares 17-1 with him, with just proper gears, without even skills being upgraded. And you need just to use a good pet. Well, there are going to be certain cases where maybe you're going to lose battles, but it's not going to be too often. But when we're talking about lower stages where majority of players are located, there's going to be like no issues whatsoever. So for the purpose of Ruby farming, no reason to worry about his advancements. Where it might be important? Well, first of all, let's have a look at his Transcendence, and we're going to discuss it in a little bit of details. The most important breakpoints are going to be like T2, T4 as usual, and T6, because it's going to provide some additional abilities. At T2, what is it going to be all about? So first of all, we're going to read the description, and it's going to provide additional effect. Grants all damage nullification when HP falls to 70% or lower, ends after taking 3 hits once per battle, and it's going to work only if you have a team of 3 attack heroes. So in team you're going to also use 2 additional attack heroes, like physical characters. As well, from the passive, which you have originally from the very beginning, at the very beginning, he is also going to receive damage nullification being at 100% of HP whenever you're going to have again 3 attack units. Is it going to be a strong improvement? Overall, yes. If we're talking in specifically such type of a content like PvP, this is going to be really strong, because he will be able to survive longer, means he's going to provide more damage longer, and he's going to nuke everyone with his just crazy, insane, broken skills and passive, which is kinda nuts. Deals defense ignoring damage equal to 23% of target's max HP one time upon using any attack 2 times. What does it mean? He uses skill, he uses basic attack, he's casting this passive. He using 2 basic attacks straight in a row, he's using this passive. Just absolutely freaking insane. More importantly, quite honestly, is going to be the topic about working on his skill enhancements, which are going to improve the performance overall kinda a lot. You're going to feel the difference. But again, where it's going to be really that important and necessary is going to be PvP, obviously. Some type of content where you need to have a longer survivability, like for example in Castle Rush, if you're lacking with survivability and you need certain stages where you're going to cover them with physical characters and you're going to have at least 3 physical characters, which I believe not always the case, but you might think about it. Overall, most likely you're going to think about PvP in these regards. But yeah, this might be helpful as well there, because he will be able to just live long enough to deal more damage. Not too huge of improvement, especially if we're talking for a free-to-play players, but if you're focused on PvP, that's the most important part. Yeah, probably you should work on this. For Castle Rush, again, it's not really that important because as far as I remember, in most cases on certain stages, on certain Castle Rushes, we are not really using 3 physical units. At least I don't remember from the top of my head. Where is going to be really helpful outside of PvP, it's progressing with the story mode. Yeah, here I'm specifically talking about the nightmare mode and some higher stages where, you know, it's kind of becoming really difficult. Survivability is playing a lot of role there, and some of units they are lacking with this kind of ability where Kyle will be able to survive long enough, and you obviously able to pair him with Theo as the second DPS, and they will be able to kind of clear the waves like really fast with a lot of damage, especially him. Maybe it's going to be even better to use just him as a single DPS, but I'm not sure about it. I need to try this out myself. I need to see this. Obviously using him with Kagura is going to be also beneficial because she's going to provide all the buffs which are needed. You can think about some other characters which are going to be helpful for physical team, but for now I believe that actually using him, using Tao and using Kagura is going to be a good idea. I might be wrong. Maybe using Dalens, for example, instead of Tao, or Colt, for example, if we're talking about PvP. But in general, he's just a great addition overall. If we're talking about T4, well, it's going to make your life a bit easier in terms of crit rate, which you will need to work on to provide critical hits pretty much consistently. Just let me check real quick his passive once again. So yeah, from his passive he's going to receive additionally 27% of crit rate. And with additional numbers from his Transcendence, this is going to make your life way easier. You shouldn't really work on crit rate from the gears, you will be able to focus mostly on crit damage in this case, and this is going to be really nice. Also, when we're going to upgrade his passive, yeah, it's not going to change anything in terms of his crit rate. It is what it is, but still, it's kinda insane, not gonna lie. And obviously, when we're talking about his T6, this is just freaking madness. Because when we're looking here, what's the most important part is that as effect, ignore defense, up to 40%. He's not going to feel it whatsoever. Again, this is going to be most meaningful in terms of PvP aspect, and nothing else outside of it. Where else you will be able to use him is going to be Advent Expedition. There are certain stages where you are going to meet 3 opponents, and for these specific cases he's going to be just great, because right now from recommended team they're going to be like Bidam and Taka, and Bidam, she's kinda mid, I should say. Taka, he's still useful, but obviously Kyle is going to be a better fit. And overall, in Advent Expedition, we need to have 2 teams, so you're going to build for yourself, for example, team with Kyle as the main DPS there, and the second with Taka. Good option, yeah, pretty much. But is it going to be important for you to focus on his dupes? I don't really think so. Until you're going to kind of really focus on arena and you're going to meet like really high stages in Nightmare, and you're aiming to get yourself the highest possible numbers in terms of Castle Rush, or afterwards is going to be also Advent Expedition. I'm not sure if he's going to be useful in Guild War. We'll have to see how it's actually going to work. But the most reasonable question here is that we obviously have him in raid up summon banner, so we have, let's say, higher chances to get him here. And should you really prioritize him? Again, I don't really think so. Like, for majority of the cases, T0 is going to be enough. Afterwards, working on his advancements is going to be improvement in certain areas for like a niche cases which are going to just in general overall improve your performance. But if you don't have a proper team for him, like proper support units being also transcended and upgraded, if you're missing certain characters which might be beneficial for him or for any other reasons, for other type of contents like for raids or progressing with I don't know, the story mode for the second team, for example, I believe there are going to be like more important characters right now to work for you, especially as free-to-play player, and working on dupes for different support units is going to be like really more important. Still, I believe Teo is like more of a safe type of a character to work on for different aspects, because he has revive, and this is a huge aspect. He's able to reduce his skills cooldowns. He at T6 has 100% crit rate. You may use him in pretty much everywhere except for Castle Rush and I guess Advent Expedition. But yeah, I would personally think and prioritize a little bit of some useful and important support characters, and still I would think a little bit more in terms of raid DPS units, at least Espada and Pascal, because right now I have a feeling, quite honestly, that working on your gears and improving it is going to be really that relevant further on. And as soon as it's going to be possible, you want to move on from tier 10 to like 11, 12 and so on and so forth to the highest possible level, because obviously here you're going to have overall more drops and you have higher chances to get 3 substats or more, which is going to be important in min-maxing your character for better performance in all types of content. And me personally, for example, I'm planning to work a little bit more on these characters for the raid, and I'm planning to farm more gears, and I'm planning to switch gears for already characters that I have to better options, because I kind of feel that I'm lacking damage or survivability in a certain type of content, and this is going to be more of priority for me. Am I going to summon him to like T2? I'm not sure about it, quite honestly. I'm going to make a video where I'm going to summon. Obviously I saved rubies and I'm planning to summon, but first of all I'm going to get myself Aquila. I want to get her 1 copy. This is going to be enough because she's a great support unit for the death team, and this is an interesting one team which might help me to progress in different types of content. And because I have Kyle, I believe she's going to improve this performance overall. This is going to be an interesting one addition. Is she like a priority? Obviously not, until you're planning to build yourself a death team. Me personally, I just want to get her at least 1 copy, just to work further on my death team a little bit. And after that I will have a look if I want to summon Kyle to T2 during the period of the banner, because I don't think that I will have enough rubies to really get him to T2, and continue to work on my regular banner and summon for dupes for the characters which are going to be really that important. I need dupes for Biscuit. I want to get her to T2 at least. I need to continue working on dupes for Tao, because still I believe he is going to be useful, or maybe switch him and work on dupes for Enhi, because we also need to have mage team for different types of content, and she is a useful character in many types of modes. For just legendary characters, as you see, I'm just going to keep Pascal, Espada and Daisy until the moment I'm going to reach them to like T4, T6. For Daisy maybe T2. After that I'm going to switch her with some other character. We'll see. But yeah, I believe Kyle is a great character even with zero investments, and in most cases you're able to use him in all types of content just absolutely perfectly without working on his dupes. And it's mostly like for whales, or if you're heavily focusing on like PvP type of content, or if you're struggling with, you know, higher stages in Nightmare, which I believe isn't related a lot to like free-to-play players. Actually, about the event, just real quick, so me personally, I actually bought almost everything already from the event shop, because additionally having one legendary character, it's nice. Here is the chance as well to get yourself some legendary character fodders. You're always missing them. Some summons and key bundles. Yep, I worked on this already. Hope you enjoyed this video and found answer about is it important or should you summon additionally for dupes for him. Again, just summary, up to you, but I wouldn't really like recommend if you don't have already some properly built teams and advanced characters as support characters, because just having at high advancements a DPS unit won't make a huge of difference, especially in terms of Kyle. Yeah, T6 is just insane, and it's going to be insane mostly for PvP, because there are different characters which you are going to meet, like being tanky or something like that, and he's going to live longer, which again is going to be more important for a PvP aspect. Outside of it, like for progression with the story, until you're going to face some higher stages, you won't struggle that much. With that being said, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and see you guys in the next one. Take care.